Hello and welcome to another day on Cornwall Pocket Farm, where I try and figure out how to live sustainably on 300 square metres in the city. Today we're doing another one on my capsule wardrobe series, and I'm looking at the Julie. I've been working on the Julie. I've been doing that, of course, if you remember, is going to be a shirt and then a sort of full skirt. It's called the Julie because it sort of reminds me of Julie Andrews, the sort of the scene in The Sound of Music when she makes all these dresses and outfits out of curtains for the children. So that was sort of like the inspiration for the name. So I'm calling it Julie Andrews. There is a shirt and a skirt, as I say. I've actually decided to split the Julie outfit into the two pieces of the shirt and the skirt, because the skirt, oh my lord, the skirt turned out to be a lot more work, a lot more problematic than I originally thought. My initial plan was, hey, I'll just make a big sort of loop of fabric and then I'll just pleat it onto a waistband and voila. Unfortunately, it didn't go that easily. I pleated it all up on small bits, and then that didn't look right, and then I tried another pleating method and that didn't work, and then I tried something else, and anyway, on and on it went. So that one's a little bit, if I was going to join the two together, if I was going to put the shirt and the skirt in the same video, it would be too long and nobody would want to watch it. So I've separated that up. So today is going to be about just the shirt, and then next week's will probably be the skirt to add on to that. So when I was filming this, I didn't actually film the very beginning part of it, where I sort of laid all the pattern pieces out and did the cutting and all that. I mean, it's pretty straightforward stuff, and so I didn't really start to film the making of this shirt until I got into the bit that was more specific to the fitting and that type of thing. So as you'll see when we kick off, I start at a point where I've already put the collar together. Now the collar was straight off the pattern, so literally I just cut the pieces out as the pattern was written, and then I made the collar again as the pattern was written, and then after that I started to do the adjustments. So anyway, follow along and see how it turned out. So progress so far with the Julie. I've done the collar piece, and I've done the shoulder seams, but I haven't put the sides together. Or any other piece of it, essentially. Looking at the pattern, it's quite, well, it's a drawing to start with, which is a bit tricky because in illustration you can never really see how it sort of goes together, but excuse me, it's yeah, it's quite loose. And some of my inspiration pictures that I've got for the Julie, they have a more sort of fitted shirt sort of form, because otherwise if you have like a baggy shirt and then you've got a full skirt, it sort of looks a little bit like that sort of sack of potatoes pulled in at the middle sort of look. And when I'm looking at all my inspiration pictures and inspiration patterns, it seems to be that the shirt is quite a neat little shirt and then it comes out. So this shirt has no darts or anything in it, so I want to add the darts and fit this shirt. So I just cut it out as it was. I'm doing this one, the short sleeve version, and I'm going to do the shawl collar. So essentially it will be view B that I'm doing. So I've cut out the pieces for view B, and I have done the collar, as I say, and the front. So all the facings are interfaced and the collar stitch. I've even done the hand stitching on the inside to turn the facing down. And now what I want to do essentially is pop this on and sort of pin it and try and figure out where the dart should go, and then also like how the side seams are going to go. I don't want it overly tight. I want to be able to move, but I don't want that sort of, as the pattern is, a completely sort of unstructured, undarted, loose shirt. I tacked in the sleeves and the shoulders are too wide. This is quite standard. I have quite narrow shoulders and I also have a small head, so the pear-shaped of me continues up. So I'm going to have to sort of inset, bring the shoulders in a little bit anyway on this. So there's a few fitting issues which I need to do, what I will do is I will sort of pin it all together, get the darts in the right place, try and figure out where the sleeves need to go, and then stitch it up at that point. The collar is going to be the shawl collar, whereas on the jacket on the Audrey I did the collar that's on view D. but it's sort of made up from the same sort of pattern, so they're very, very similar. So I just thought that it would be a little bit of a difference for the Julie. And obviously I want to wear this shirt underneath the Audrey jacket, so I wanted to sort of keep with the same necklines for the shirt, because as I described before, the way the necklines go together is quite important, I think, when you're looking at a capsule wardrobe. So that's the next job, is to do some pins, maybe tack a few things up, try and get that fit right. I didn't think it was worth doing a toile for this, because essentially it's just a shirt with some darts, but that could have been a mistake. We'll yet to see, yet to find out. I've been quite surprised at how narrow the sleeves are. They're really quite fitted, so that's okay, because that again is the right sort of feel. But I just need to get the shoulders right, because obviously if you've got a fitted shirt, you need the shoulders to be nice and fitted too, so it's fitted all the way around. One of the things I really like about this fabric, it's got lots of colours on it, which is great. It won't show the marks and creases and things because it's got so much going on. It's really quite a fine fabric, really quite thin, but because of all the pattern on it, it's not see-through. If it was a plain fabric, it would be see-through, but because of all the print, it's not see-through. So that'll make it nice and light and cool, and means that I won't need to wear anything underneath, a slip or anything like that. The other thing about this fabric which is quite nice is that it's a woven, it's a solid woven, and so it doesn't stretch one way, but the other way it's got a little bit of give on it. Often these woven fabrics will have that the sort of the crosswise there's a warp and a weft, and I never know which is which, but anyway, the cross grain has a little bit of a stretch in it, which is nice when you're doing something like a shirt, because you want to make sure that that stretch is across your body, so that if you're moving like that, the fabric has a little bit of give to it. Okay, I've put some darts in through here. I used my fitted bodice block to put some darts in here, and it was a bit gapey here, so I've actually put a dart in down the side up into the armhole. Haven't got the sleeves on yet, but I think that's fitting pretty well. And on the back, again, I've got 4 darts on the back. I'll try and show you that. So I've put in 4 darts that are on my fitted bodice block, and I think that's pulled it in quite nicely. So I think that will do. I'll put those in. The sleeves are yet to go on, but I think I'm happy with that enough to sew this bit. I've added in the darts, and I think that fits a lot better. I had to bring in the shoulders because they were too far down, so I brought them in, which meant the sleeve head was a bit bigger, so I have gathered it a little bit. But I'm quite pleased with the way that's finished. I think it actually makes it look a little bit more vintage and gives it a little bit more structure, so quite pleased with that. The shawl collar, I think I'm quite pleased with the shawl collar. I think that looks quite nice. I've just got it pinned at the front. I haven't got the buttons on yet. I'm going to put a cuff on the bottom of the sleeves, because I think that will just finish it nicely. And when I have the waistband along here on the skirt, I think a band on the sleeves will carry on that line quite nicely. Quite pleased with the back. The shaping is really sort of bringing it in, so I'll just show you that. Okay, so hopefully you can see the back. I'm quite pleased with the way that it comes in. The shaping is very necessary on the back. It was looking very baggy and blouse-on-y before, so I think that looks quite nice now. Okay, I've just put the cuff on, and I did it so that it was sort of had a slit like that. The idea is that I was originally going to fold it back and sort of cuff it back on itself. But I quite like it like that. I'm wondering whether to put a little button on it. Not sure. I'll show you what I was thinking of it when it was folded back. Okay, so this is it folded back, and of course I would iron it. It would have a crease there. So that was sort of the idea. So it had a little bit of a sort of a wing on it. Yeah, I quite like it like that. Originally I was going to stitch it down, but I think what I'll do is actually just press it, and it should stay like that. And then if I wanted to sort of unfurl it and have it the full length, I could do that. Yeah, I think that's what I'm going to do. Options, that's what we want, options. Okay, so I want to show you my new fabric. I got this fabric just the other day. Hopefully you can see the colour of that. It's a sort of a steel blue, like a sort of a grey blue. I went along to the fabric shop with my swatches, all the swatches from the Capsule Wardrobe fabrics that I'd already got, and went around sort of trying to match the fabrics to try and find something that would blend in with everything, of course. Now this is got a little bit more weight to it. It's a canvas, and yeah, it's a little weighty, not too heavy, but I just wanted something that was a little bit more weight. Well, partly because obviously with trousers you've got a little bit more wear and tear on a pair of trousers, you know, sort of bending your knee and sitting down and doing all that sort of stuff. So I needed something with a little bit more structure. So I think this will do the job. It's the right colour to go with all of my other fabrics, and it's quite difficult, I find, to find the right fabric in the wrong season. Because when I'm in autumny, wintry weather, as we are now, the colours that I go towards are sort of deeper, richer colours. So they tend to be things like forest green and a sort of a plum and those sort of deeper, richer colours. Whereas in the summer I tend to like colours that are lighter, like a pale blue or a pale green and sort of pink, and you know, and sort of a lighter sort of colour. I like red and navy the same, but as I say, the red in the summer tends to be a sort of a brighter red, whereas that red in the winter tends to turn into more of a plum or an aubergine sort of colour. So it's the same colour palette that I like, essentially. It's just that in the winter it's deeper and darker, and in the summer it's sort of lighter and more vibrant, if that makes sense. So when I go fabric shopping out of season, I have to try and keep that in mind, because I'm drawn to things like plum or browns or deep green or something that maybe in the summer I don't wear quite as much. So with this steel blue, I thought it was quite durable because it's a sort of, it's not a really light colour, it's going to show every mark, but it's still a summery colour, and it still goes with my capsule wardrobe and all the other fabrics quite nicely. So I'm pleased with that. This may be the next project. I'm not really sure yet. I'm still thinking about what to do next. So I've got yet to make, so I've done the Audrey, I've done the skirt, the top and the jacket of the Audrey. I've now done the shirt, and I'm just finishing off the skirt for the Julie. I've also made the dress for the wedding. That was the Sophia dress, and I have also started on the choli, the sari blouse, which is the other mission critical piece that I have to have for the Indian wedding that we're attending. So I've started looking at that as well, and that video will be up in a couple of weeks' time. So what have I got left to make in my original capsule wardrobe plans? Well, there's the trousers. There is also what I was originally calling suit B, which I'm actually going to call the Carmen, after Carmen Miranda. Now I'm sure you're all going, oh my lord, what will that look like? I'm sure it's got lots of fruit involved. Yeah, it's much more subdued than that. That's the red fabric, the red linen. If you remember from the original plan, suit B is supposed to be a little bit more gay, as the literature, the 1950s literature sort of described. So that's why I went with the red. And it's a sort of a softer suit. It's going to be a little bit more playful, as they said in the literature as well. So yeah, I've called it the Carmen. So yeah, keep your eye out for what that is going to look like. I've got some ideas, some vague ideas at the moment of where it's going, which is why I've called it the Carmen. But yeah, you'll have to wait and see how that turns out and what the design is going to be for that. But I do have to have these trousers. I haven't named the trousers, have I? Oh, I haven't got a name for the trousers. Oh well, we'll see what the design's going to be like, and then I'll name them once I know what it's going to look like, I think. We're at the last stage now with this shirt. The sleeves have all been tacked down, turned up and ironed. The collar's all correct. The shaping's good. I've hemmed it. I just need to put the buttonholes and buttons on, and I do actually tend to procrastinate and put this off because it's not my favourite. I do actually find it to be one of these jobs that once you start, it's not that bad. It's just the sort of the anticipation. That sounds too positive. the sort of the looming buttonholeness of these buttonholes always sort of makes me procrastinate. But once I grasp the nettle and get on with it, it's not actually that bad, and it doesn't actually take that long. So I've decided that, well, this video is a great excuse. I am actually going to just get on and do these fiddly buttonholes so that I can put the video up this Friday. This is my machine. The buttonhole function is here, and it just sort of moves around. You can just you turn it once and you do the down bit, and then you turn it again, it goes across, and then you turn it again, it goes up. And then there's this dial here which I move to the zigzag position, and that's all. I have to actually work out the length and the width and all of that myself, but the first thing I always do is do a bit of a test buttonhole. It's the other thing is that it tends to do one side more densely than the other, but I don't know why. Perhaps because it's just a bit old. Okay, I'm going to start from the bottom because the first one might be a bit dodgy, and that'll be tucked in. So start off with the bottom one and then see how we go. Okay, that's number one. Hopefully you can see. That's number one buttonhole. Only 6 more to go, I think. I have done all of the buttons. I had to do one 3 times, but they're all done and now they're cut. I generally go in with a seam ripper just to make a little tiny hole, and then I have some tiny scissors which I can do the rest of the buttonhole with. Nerve-wracking. I hate making holes in things that I've made, but they're done now. So all I need to do is put on these little buttons and a bit of hand sewing, and then it'll be finished. And then I'll do the reveal. Yay! There's actually more in a shirt than you think. This one's actually a very simple shirt. There's not a sort of a, what's that bit called? Yoke. There's no yoke or anything like that in this. It's a very simple shirt. The collar is mostly in one piece with a bit of facing, so it's probably about the most simple shirt you could possibly make. But even so, trying to get the fitting right, doing cuffs, doing buttons, turning collars, you know, there's always a bit more to do with a shirt. Anyway, on to the buttons and then the reveal.